pleasure to meet you again. And today we have a very, very special guest from the USA, Mr. Joseph Hobbs, which is going to introduce himself later. And I would like to warmly welcome you into our talk show, Emotional Health Talk, which is aired every Fridays. And today we are continuing our series on conquering shame, which is on the second episode. And we are going to talk about the causes of shame in this episode. And conquering shame is actually a part of the Restoring Your Heart program, which Mr. Joseph Hobbs has been working on for the past 20 years. And here he is visiting Indonesia because Indonesia has been one of the countries that is expanding on the Restoring Your Heart program for the past 3 years. And Indonesia Restoring Your Heart is actually a collaboration between Busur Emas Foundation and also the Restoring Your Heart Ministry in the USA. So we welcome everyone who would like to join us in this ministry and in this program. And even if you are not situated in Indonesia, we also welcome you. We can connect online anytime. Technology can make it happen for us. And we would like to support you in your Restoring Your Heart journey. So without further ado, I invite Mr. Joseph to introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Joseph Hobbs. I am a staff member of WDA, Worldwide Discipleship Association in Atlanta, Georgia. I am a staff member. I am a facilitator, a trainer, and a consultant. Greetings, and I am very happy to be here among you and to bring this Restoring Your Heart program to life.
Thanks, Joseph. And myself, I'm Patricia. I'm the head of Busur Emas Foundation and also the head of the Indonesian Restoring Your Heart Ministry. And again, we welcome you to join us anytime. And we would like today to expand about the causes of shame. So Joseph, you were sharing about the causes of shame today. And I have here that one of the main point of cause of shame is actually family of origin, when parents are being shame-bound.
Yeah.
So how do you explain that?
Family of origin is looking back at your family and where they originate from and how they were being trained or not as an individual. A lot of times parents transfer what they have learned from their parents to the next generation. And a lot of times they don't know that they are transferring the shame base because they don't identify it. They cannot identify it themselves.
I see. So shame is something that is transferable.
Yes.
From a parent to the child.
Yes.
And
from the child to the parent.
Okay. And oftentimes it is transferred because the parent does not recognize that it's actually that it is shame that they're transferring to the child. Right. Do you have a specific example in mind of a symptom of such parents that is shame-bound?
A lot of times when a parent is very critical of their child, it's because that they have had a very critical background, and a lot of times they don't realize that continues being critical of their child. The child become very low self-esteem. They become very not sure of themselves, and as a result, they withdraw.
I see. So you're saying that being very critical can cause a shame in a person,
right?
But when a person has their own family, it may be transferred because that's the only ways that he knows how to raise a child.
Right.
And not knowingly, he transferred also the shame with that kind of parenting.
Right. That's correct. Placing high standards on children that at their age cannot be met, but sometimes giving them adult responsibilities when they're 4 and 5 and 6 and they're not ready for that. So the child do the best that they can, but in the meantime the parents are all again criticizing or putting them down or saying, why can't you do better? When you hear the negative extensional messages, it causes you to feel like I can't do anything right.
Okay, so when a parent places high demand on a child that is beyond the child's age,
Yes.
so it's actually also creating shame because the child will have very little chance of fulfilling that demand because of her age, and the parent feel unhappy because the child cannot fulfill the demand.
Right.
So it's being transferred to the child, of that shame being transferred to the child.
Yeah. And the child also began to feel like, oh, I'm the stupid one, or oh, I'm the bad one, or oh, because of all of this happening to me, I must be the problem of the family. I must be the cause of why can't I be like my brother or my sister? You know, it's one of the symptoms that they are withdrawing. They are not relating well, and they can't figure out why.
Okay, so when a parent transports that shame pattern, it will cause the child to withdraw from the relationship.
Yeah, right.
I see. So I guess it's going to be very important for us to really mindful about how we interact with our children, so that we don't transfer the kind of shame pattern unawareingly to our children. And you were also mentioning about neglect, especially emotional neglect.
Emotional neglect is a huge impact on a child. Example, my parents grew up in an environment where they only knew how to relate to adults. They did not know how to relate to children, so children was to be seen and not heard. And so I was neglected by them, even though they was in the household and present. They was not emotionally connected to me. Or anytime I had questions or wanted to talk to them about something, they would always say, "Child, go outside," or "Go to your room." And so it left me with feeling like I have no one to talk to. I have no one to be around. So when people came to our house, our home, I was very shameful of the condition of the home that I lived in, because I lived on a farm in an old home. So when people came, I didn't want them to come to my house. A lot of times when I went to school, and if someone would bring me home, I would have them drop me off a quarter of a mile from my house.
Oh, wow. So, wow, that has a very high impact towards a child.
Yes.
And I'm in this era of technology and gadget. I guess it's also quite common for a parents not knowingly or unawareingly neglecting his or her child.
But when the modern parents, what they do is, instead of interacting with their children, they give them a gadget, such as a telephone or a tablet or something to keep them occupied. And that's a form of emotional neglect, because the parents are not there really to meet the child need or to be engaged with the child to figure out what's going with the child. And so that can cause as well a shame-based identity.
I see. So if your child seems happy with the gadget, it doesn't mean the child is being safe from emotional pain.
Right.
It may be that gadget is the source of emotional pain.
It's distracting. It's something that distracting you from the pain, as well as from being engaged with other people.
So parents, it's very important for us to connect emotionally with our children, so that the shame identity base can be prevented, so that they can grow into confident adult, confident about their self-value and self-esteem.
Yes.
Okay, so, and you were also mentioning about guilt over mistakes, especially mistakes that are labeled very bad.
A lot of people tend to take any mistake, especially a serious one, and they tend to make it something that they cannot overcome. So the guilt sets in, and it becomes like a barometer to keep them from overcoming that, or to they can't especially find what is going on with them, or what was the mistake, why is it that it's so hard for me. Another thing is, when my son died in 2002, he and my wife and other son was on their way to see her parent, and my son had heart operation the year before, and because of him being on blood thinners and things like that, he had a migraine headache the night before. And so the next morning I asked him about it, and he said it was better, but he was going anyway to see his grandparents. And so when I got the call that evening that they had been in a car accident and that he did not survive, at that time I did not feel the guilt. But later on I began to think about and bring myself in being guilty for not insisting that he not go, because I was thinking that if I had prevented that, he wouldn't have died. But that's the kind of serious guilt that people put on themselves, which have no way of permitting it or preventing it. But because it's a close member, we tend to feel the guilt that we should have done something.
Okay, so the guilt came because we felt that we should have done differently.
Right.
So what is a healthier way of looking at that mistake, or if it's a mistake?
It's looking at that we live in a world that is being affected by, and a lot of times we're going to be affected in a negative way, and we're going to make a mistake. We're going to, because we're human.
So actually, just coming back to our existence of a human, that human will always make mistakes,
Yes.
and making mistake is part of making us as human.
It's part of making who we are as human.
Okay, and I guess it's how we learn as well from our past experiences.
Yes.
I see. So if any of you is watching this and actually being overcome by guilt that cannot be overcome, we would like to let you know that you need to see this as part of your journey of being human. And human make mistakes, just like any other humans, just like me and Joseph. And human learn from mistakes, so it's okay to make mistakes.
Yes.
As long as we just try to keep improving on that.
Right.
May not be directly happening, may take a long time, which is
Right.
okay because it takes a process.
Yeah, learning life is a process. It's a long life process, and we have to realize that there are many things that's going to come in our lives that will shortchange us, that will redirect us, but we have to take those things and evaluate what is it doing to me emotionally and physically and mentally.
You know, as you speak, it comes to my mind this quote that making a mistake does not make a person bad.
No, it does not.
Yes, so
It's just sometimes you don't have the ability to relate to whatever situation you're in, or the situation is not quite suitable for what you're trying to do, or things happen unexpectedly.
yes, so if you feel guilty about, again, making a big mistakes, making mistake does not make you bad.
Yes.
Good people still do make mistakes.
Yes.
So it's okay to make mistakes. just learn from the mistakes and keep moving forward.
Yes.
And okay, so continuing on from that, you were also mentioning that about the symptoms of shame. And one of the symptoms that you were mentioning about people that have shame often feeling blue, often has low energy. So what do you think causes this condition?
Again, the emotional numbness is where they totally block out their feelings. They don't have the energy to move forward. They don't have the energies to recognize what's bothering them, and they also often ignore the feelings that they have, the truth about the feelings that they have. They become very numb. They feel all the pains of life and not the joy.
So when a person is trying to run away from processing the shame in his or her life, it's actually creating more negative
impact on their lives.
And you were saying that it often makes them feel blue, low energy, often feeling tired, and not motivated in life.
Yeah. It's hard for them to connect with people and have close relationships. It makes it hard to be liked or disliked, or to even like themselves sometimes. So all of those things is prevent them from truly knowing who they are.
Wow, that's interesting. Truly know who I am. Because I think that's important, because what I feel about who I am will be reflected in my words, in my behaviors, my actions.
Yeah.
So you were saying that those who are running away from processing their shame or other emotional pains will have difficulties in knowing who they really are, their true identity, and they will put on false identity on themselves, which oftentimes is a negative identity.
Yes.
Wow. So truly conquering shame and also processing our emotional pain is a very important process that we need to do in our lives, so that our full potential that comes from our true identity can be manifested in its full scale. And you're also saying about this kind of people may be overly sensitive even by constructive criticism.
Yes. They are hurt even when they receive mild and constructive criticism. They tend to take it very hard. Any criticism tend to make them feel like, wow, I can't do anything constructive. I am always being criticized, so there must be something wrong with me, so I don't try or withdraw.
So you were saying that even very constructive criticism will make them feel bad about themselves and will make them withdraw even further.
Yeah. And they become embarrassed, even though they make mistakes, or they have talent that they can sing well, but they are very embarrassed about it and very sensitive about it. Especially if someone make the comment. I remember when I was a little boy, about 9, I had a high tenor voice, and the lady said, "That was a nice solo, but you still sound like a little girl."
Wow.
And that was very hurtful for me for a long time, and it took a long time before I realized, and the teacher began to tell me that was okay, that's normal for a child to have a high voice. And then I learned that tenors have high voices as well. So, but it took me a long time to even come out of the side of myself to share that and to be a part of the norm.
Wow. So criticism can have a very deep impact in a person's life. I'm just wondering if this kind of person that is easily hurt by mild or constructive criticism. I remember or recall certain incidences whereby people tend to retaliate over very mild and constructive criticism. So I'm just wondering what actually happened.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times it's just a reaction of being oversensitive. Sometimes I've seen people who blow up at people who come to them and talking about something that they perceive that they was talking about them. But as they carried on the conversation, that person realized that it was not them that they was talking about, but they perceived that it was them that they was talking about.
Wow. So actually, such people are very unhappy people.
All right. Can be. Very unhappy.
Yeah, because they tend to view people from the negative side.
Yes.
And not from the positive, trying to help them grow.
Right. And again, it pushes them away from connection and acceptance, because they figure that every time people will not accept them for who they are.
So every time people give criticism, even constructive one, they perceive it as rejection.
Rejection.
And makes them feel even bad about themselves. Wow. Thank you so much, Joseph, for sharing all this. Well, I hope you benefit from what we have discussed, and truly, from what we are discussing, the symptoms is actually something that I believe many of us have experienced or heard or seen in our daily life, and actually, it's not normal. Meaning, it actually comes from a shame-based identity, and it can be healed if a person wants to process that shame. That shame will go away, and that person will be able to have a healthier self-identity that can enable him or her to fulfill the true potential in his or her life. So with this, I invite you to get more detailed information. You can get it from our website, which is www.busuremas.com. It's busuremas.com. So www.busuremas.com, or you can email us at info@busuremas.com. And you can also connect us through social media. We have Instagram that is quite updated often. It's Yayasan Busur Emas, or you can also see our YouTube channel under Ellen Patricia. You can get all detailed information throughout all these channels and platforms. And also, apart from conquering shame that we are talking about today, we also offer another program called Understanding Emotion, which will help you to understand your emotion better, especially your negative emotion, and how to manage those negative emotions better. We also offer you a program called Processing Pain, which will help you to identify what is the pain that has been with you for so many years that you yourself have not been aware of. Because the program will help you to just dig out those experiences, painful experiences that maybe unawareingly still cause pain in your life and cause negative impact in your life, and will guide you through the healing process, so that at the end of the process you can have acceptance, you can have full forgiveness, and of course you can have healing and restoration that will transform your life in a way that you will never imagine before. And also, we would like to just invite you to fly high in your life. Be the best version of you that you can be. But to fly high, you must be able to let go of anything that weigh you down. So, connect with us. We will help you to let go of anything that weighing you down, so that you can fly high in your life. Till the next episode, I will contact again with you and connect again with you in our third episode, which talk about releasing toxic shame. Till then, stay blessed.